we are reacting to the brand new trailer for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I don't know about you, Hector, but it's probably like one of my most anticipated movies of the year because, good Lord, those Mission Impossibles, they're good.
Oh yeah, McQuarrie is pretty good.
Let him cook.
Let this man cook. Me too. I think it's one of my most anticipated movies this year. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I feel like it's just the action movie franchise right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy to think that like Ethan Hunt and Mission Impossible, based on the old American TV show Mission Impossible, from the 90s, the first film up until the 2000s, evolved into the sort of like premier, sophisticated, incredibly impressive. You go to see it for the stunts. Action franchise. Not to knock Fast and Furious, they do different things. They do action differently. Not to knock the Daniel Craig, James Bond, which are also very sophisticated and awesome. And I really enjoyed No Time to Die, and I really enjoyed how they finished that out. But it's crazy in my mind, I feel like, and even the Bourne franchise, which for a hot minute in the 2000s was like the action franchise. I feel like Mission Impossible has surpassed them all, man. That's crazy.
I totally agree. And the fact that they get better and better and better and better, like way better.
Yeah.
You know, like Fallout was so freaking good. And now
the sixth Mission Impossible movie is the best one. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's nuts. So I'm excited to see, I mean, we saw one trailer so far and that ended with some crazy stuff. So I'm excited to see what else they got in this. So
yeah, we've also seen since then that whole featurette of like, we threw Tom Cruise off a cliff on a motorcycle 100 times to get this one shot. So this is going to be, it's going to be crazy.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Our lives.
Oh, coming in hot.
The sum of our choices.
Oh my God. Did he really get that close to the cliff?
Yeah, I'm like, did you have him on a tether? What happened?
Ethan, this mission of yours is gonna cost you dearly.
Oh, is that Kittredge? Is that the character's name?
Yeah. All right, the finale.
The world is changing. Truth is vanishing. War is coming.
Oh, Jesus. We're going Fast and Furious in this movie.
It's been a long time, friend. You've no idea
Eli Morales.
what I represent. It knows your story and how it ends.
Listen to me. The world's coming after you.
Oh my God.
His fate is written. Shall we write yours too?
If anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
Of course. Jesus Christ. This man is nuts.
Ethan, what's your objective? What's your ultimate objective?
Run.
Yeah.
Faster and farther than any man.
Your life will always matter more to me than my own.
Because we're family.
Wow.
Good Lord. Whoa. Jesus.
None of our lives can matter more than this mission.
I don't accept that.
Of course.
Of course not. Of course not. God damn. Bum, bum, bum.
Wow.
My God.
Clean.
My God. July 12th. I mean, it's going to be Action Spectacle City, right? I would have never expected them to, well, one, I would have never expected them to make this many movies, but also part of me is a little surprised that they're like putting in an effort to tie it back to the first film, right? They had Vanessa Kirby's character come in, who is Max's daughter, which was the character from the first movie. Now you have Kittredge coming back. There's obviously some history with Esai Morales' character and Ethan Hunt. So I'm interested to see like what they're doing to bring this whole thing full circle, which like they didn't really need to. They could have done their own thing and kept it completely separate and never revisited those previous films, but they are. So I think that's interesting and cool, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not this franchise commits to killing Tom Cruise's character,
Right.
because that's such finality, I feel like.
Do you think, I mean, going back to what you said a second ago with Esai Morales' character, do you think he's got something to do with something in Mission Impossible 1 or 2 or earlier or something?
Maybe they seem to allude to that maybe they have some sort of a history together. So
Yeah.
it could have been something that was maybe set in between a movie that we never saw, or maybe the character's related to another character. I don't know. I do think it's interesting though that character was supposed to be played by Nicholas Hoult originally. And
Really?
Nicholas Hoult is much younger than Esai Morales. Not saying that he's old, but
Interesting.
so I'm so curious how that changed this character and who he is in the story.
Esai Morales is seasoned. He's got that
Seasoned.
nice salt and pepper. He is a seasoned actor.
Seasoned boy. He's a seasoned boy.
You can also, I'm rewatching it too with that parachute stunt. You can tell that they CGI'd the floor so that there's not like a clear ramp that Tom Cruise goes off of, but it's all like, oh, it's like rocky terrain. Really? Okay, I'm gonna be sitting in the movie theater like, that's not rocky terrain. That's a clean ramp for him to shoot off of.
Yeah,
that's fine.
because
You
he's
showed
going
me
so
the behind the
smooth.
scenes. Yeah, exactly. He's not going like, he's just so smooth. It is going to be very interesting to see how the series ends, right?
Mhm.
Because they have tried before to kind of bring in Jeremy Renner to be like, maybe we're handing off the torch. Maybe Mission
Right.
Impossible can be a bit of a team effort, of an anthology series, of different agents coming in. And frankly, for better or worse, Tom Cruise has made this thing his baby. And I don't
Totally.
know if audiences are going to be on board with Mission Impossible 9 with a new character, with like just Rebecca Ferguson as the lead and some
Yeah.
other people. I'm down to clown. I'm down to see Mission Impossible IMF movies for forever, or a new IMF show or whatever. But that stands for Impossible Mission Force. But if Paramount and Tom Cruise and all these people are like, have tried to sort of suss it out, and they've determined, you know what, audiences aren't maybe going to be down for this unless it's Cruise.
Mhm.
Or maybe we'll kill him off or retire the character and wait some years before kind of bringing it back. That would kind of make sense too. It just feels like it's so tied into the Ethan Hunt character at this point.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to what you were saying, Adam, it's going to be interesting to see how they decide to close it out with part 1 and part 2 of this finale. I don't know if they're going to, take the same playbook from James Bond. And they
Sure.
recently had a very
Finality.
new to the James Bond, absolutely. So I wonder if they're going to do the same thing, do it their own way, or do something where they're going to leave Ethan Hunt retired, and for sure there'll never be another Ethan Hunt story, but he'll be able to sort of ride off into the sunset, maybe with the Rebecca Ferguson character. I don't know, because at this point, Ethan's not going to go back to Julia for Mission Impossible 3. They're very much
Right.
divorced, but they love each
Yeah.
other still, but they're divorced, and that's never going to work out. And that's a sad, sad thing. But
Yeah.
I'm so curious to see how it's all going to pan out. I guess we'll find out with this. It'll probably be a cliffhanger, literally a cliffhanger ending at the end of this part 1. Tom
He
Cruise
jumps
hanging
off the cliff on the bike, and literally it says "to be
And
continued" in part
and
2.
to be continued in part
Ethan
2.
Hunt
That
will
would
return.
that would be hilarious if they did
Yeah.
that. So
I
I'm
agree with you,
excited.
though.
I think next year. I think we've committed. I think next year we're going to go
Oh, yeah.
back and watch all the missions.
Oh,
leading
hell
up
yeah.
into. So make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel.
Subscribe.
So you don't miss it.
I agree, though. I think it will be interesting to see if him and Ilsa Faust will ride off into the sunset or not. Because she's also, she's a younger character. Maybe she has more to say about like her career, and maybe she is tasked up with running the Impossible Mission Force. I don't know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether or not they commit to killing Ethan Hunt's character as well. And we live in a post Top Gun Maverick world, and I think that movie was such a surprise just from how well it was made technically, and how well it, just how well received it was, and it was one of the highest grossing movies of last year. I went into it thinking that they were going to possibly kill off Maverick, but I also thought like I don't know how the audience would react to that, because I think you're right when saying I don't know if audiences will be on board to continue this series with somebody else other than Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is one of those very, very few people left in Hollywood who his name does sell tickets. But I don't think that was always the case. I think he went through a phase in his career where that wasn't so much the case. But I think the Mission Impossible movies have really sort of reinvigorated that for him. And Top Gun Maverick, if anything, has really like solidified that. So Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Chris McQuarrie comes up with for these next two, for this movie and the quote unquote final film, because it might also just be the final movie for Chris McQuarrie, and then he'll hand it off to somebody else, and Tom Cruise will decide whether or not he wants to make more. And the ending will not necessarily be ambiguous, but it will be sort of a ride off into the sunset, kind of like The Last Crusade. It has some finality, but it was very much open-ended, and yes, you could have absolutely made more Indiana Jones films, which they clearly did. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. I'm excited, but I am also excited to rewatch these movies with you guys next year. I feel like I have a pretty good memory of most of the films. I think like between 2 and 4, it gets a little murky. Between those like 3, that little trilogy right there. But I feel like 1 and everything that Chris McQuarrie kind of took over, I'm pretty fresh on. And Fallout is just such an incredible film. But these movies also demand that you see them in IMAX, in like the biggest possible theater. Because,
agreed.
God, spectacle.
You want to get it to where Tom Cruise, when he's on screen, he's actually human
like
size.
that big.
That's how big a screen you want to see that movie on. So it's very impressive.
Absolutely, absolutely. But of course, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about this trailer? What are you looking forward to seeing in this brand new movie? And how do you think they're going to handle the end of Ethan Hunt's story? Will he ride off into the sunset? Will he take one for the team finally? And maybe have maybe have a real ending to his character? I don't know. Let us know. And let us know if you're excited for us to revisit the Mission Impossible movies. I'm going to have to assume that Augustine has not seen any of them.
Maybe. And he was out today. He said he's got some construction going on at his house right now early in the morning, and you know this drop had to be 6 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks, Paramount. Thank you so much.
But let us know all your thoughts in the comments below. Check out our Patreon, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next reaction. Bye.